Hello and welcome everybody to this fantastic new update with your boy Flip. So today we're looking at what BTC and the market has been up to in the past couple of weeks and what we might expect in the following weeks, and maybe a few setups that I'm looking for. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So as we can see, we have finally had that much anticipated BTC breakout, which to me is not much of a surprise, to be honest, because yeah, you have the US elections coming up in the next week, and if you're a ruling party, you wouldn't want the market breaking down just before people are going to vote, because that might influence people who are maybe still on the edge in deciding who they want to vote for. So yeah, so this has ultimately happened, classic chart pattern, the descending wedge, and we've had that pop. I think the clue here, maybe for future reference, is the sweep of this sweep, because yeah, hindsight is 2020, but this sweep is really I'll tell you the psychology behind it is when the market has been consolidating for multiple weeks. This has probably been going on for a good 6 to 8 months, I think probably 6 months, and then people are building positions in anticipation of the breakout, and finally it stops everybody out, and then it makes the big move. This is classic manipulation, and then bang, takes the liquidity. Then people are, yeah, the whales fill up their orders, and then yeah, breaks out to the upside. But the target is quite high. Usually you're looking for yeah, some kind of measured move, which is here, this much of a move, up there. Ideally from a pattern perspective, this is usually the pole, and this is a measured move of how much it makes it. So yeah, you're looking at least 85k. There are other ways to determine some targets, let's look at the fib here, yep, boom. So 89k, this is something that I would say, yeah, that is a solid move, but at least still 84, 80, 89k is what I'm thinking of, because this is from an Elliott wave perspective, this is probably wave, wave one, wave three, this is wave two, wave three, wave four, very choppy wave four, which is usually a characteristic of the wave four correction. And then it is usually the extension, the 1.618 or the 2.618 extension, is usually the move. But anyway, as you can see, this is the move 1 2, let me pull out the count here. So it's usually what we are saying is it's basically this short move, and then bam, we had the fourth wave move, and we will probably have, okay, what would you have for 89k, right? Yeah, so this is what we are ultimately, our thesis is, depends on how how it plays out, we will see. But yeah, that's everybody and their dog is bullish right now, which is why we should be a little bit careful. So let's dive into some alts. I would definitely not be buying right here BTC, because it's right at the top. This is the definition of buying the top. We want to wait for a little bit of a retrace. There's no point FOMOing in here, because yeah, to be honest, it was a good time to buy here. It's not easy to buy here, but there was a pretty clean setup once you hit this low, and then if you had a bit of patience, it is very easy to see that this one was a 786 retrace, this low here, and yeah, that would have been the setup, with the easy invalidation below here, 7%. But here, you don't know where your invalidation is. It could easily come down till here, and then go and then continue the rally. So yeah, there is really no, ideally this zone, I would say 65, 64, 66, between this 65, this is where we are looking for a potential long. If I would be looking for a setup, it is around the 65k area, anywhere around this, just once we hit this low, because that would then make it an easier setup, that we don't lose this low, and this is obviously the previous support, this is the 21 support, the top flip support. So yeah, that is a must hold level, because if we start closing below that, then I think we have bigger problems than just our long. So yeah, let's dive into some others. Like, as you know, I've been a little bit on the AI tokens. Like, I'm really clued into that. And Tau is basically the Bitcoin of AI tokens. So right now it's having a bit of a retrace. It's ran up like about 2x in the past month. So yeah, I mean, it is having a bit of a correction right now, and I marked out these zones. Definitely don't want to see this area lose, so I am actually on the lookout for some kind of bullish price action here. But this candle looking pretty bad. And if we look at the wider market and the wider context, so if we see AMD, they kind of missed their earnings. Now that is a little bit of a warning sign for me, because yeah, that had a substantial drop, like it led to a 10%. It's sizable in the stock market. And yeah, we don't know how that is going to develop, maybe today, tomorrow. So that is like, there's some heat on the AI, on the AI tokens there. So, but definitely do not want it to see, start closing below this range. At the worst, like we could at worst take, okay, maybe this low, like here, does something, yeah, like something like this. So it does, maybe just does a deviation, then comes back in. Then this would be my setup, and this is the stop loss, right? And yeah, take it to maybe this order block here. Yeah, not gonna write, but yeah, that's the thesis. But yeah, you don't want to see this area being lost, because then you enter the previous range, and then like, yeah, that's then not as clean a setup as we would have expected. But it has had its retrace, like it has had its retrace, and now we are looking for some kind of setup to form here. Now it would be too early, in my opinion, to just dive right in right here. So maybe we want to look a little bit of the loss of this area and then a reclaim of this area, which would be a show of strength. Because if we are buying here, it could do any number of things. Like it could just keep chopping around here, like, and yeah, there's really no point buying it right now. But it just tells us the wider health of the AI tokens. So yeah, which is like they're in a little bit of a limbo state. Maybe they're relying on other indicators, or like the macro indicators, to pull in a run. But then I have some which I am looking at, which are forming pretty decent setups. So if we keep an eye out on these, then maybe we can form some trade ideas. So first one is render. Now yeah, here, see, I've marked out a chart pattern. Yeah, this is like an ascending triangle, like, but what we can see is it's lost that triangle. It's trying to reclaim it, and if it doesn't reclaim that, then maybe there's something that is looming on the horizon which is causing this uncertainty. But then we will look at this area being filled and ultimately going down to this 2.9, 2.5, and that could be influenced by any kind of macro factors, because there's the election, there are some wars happening, god knows, like it could be anything. But it's quite a sizable rejection here. Like you can see that we have closed above it, then try to go above and then close below it. So looking at the lower time frames, yeah, I mean, unless we start we get above this area, I would say this order block, you can see that it has interacted quite well with this. Like, it kind of blew through that order block, came up, blew through it again, is having some trouble, going above this. So yeah, if we really try, okay, maybe there's a 10% move, we can we can try here. But yeah, the invalidation is anywhere, like, it's too low, so it's not quite a trade setup for me. But yeah, if we were to take this low, maybe there's a trade idea, like between these channels, like, and it lines up as a 618 of this range, and this is the must hold area that I spoke about just earlier. So there's some confluences there, like this is a 618 of that must hold range. And this is ultimately, ever since we've lost this level, like, we are struggling to get back above or get any kind of bullish momentum. So keep an eye out for this, like around the 2.8, 2.5 area as a definite buy, or maybe something like this, like, where it, yeah, it hits this low and, comes back above, like, then again, you have a solid trade idea, right? I mean, and this is what really trading is all about. So we will caution, like, we will exercise some patience here. Or the other scenarios, it breaks above this order block, and and then, yeah, we have another trade idea, right? Like just above here. So there are some scenarios on render, like, keep an eye out. It kind of looks hard though, because the way it is playing, I find in alts, a lot of these alts are in positions where if they pump, you would think, oh wow, like, of course I should have seen that one coming, like, but if they drop, like, you would also think that I should have seen that one coming. But like, yeah, the risk to reward is skewed, like, here it's a very, very aggressive long if you're longing here, because yeah, this whole thing is down. We just look at the line chart here, like, I mean, yeah, this thing is on a definite downtrend or an uptrend. This is an uptrend, and this is a downtrend. Like, this is like maybe wave 1, 2, 3. This is like the fourth wave. As we were talking about the BTC example, a very choppy fourth wave, and then maybe it, like, it goes from here down here, or like, does some chopping, or maybe it is already on the way down, like straight goes here, like, so we don't know, but we have to see, and it is not a very comfortable position. So yeah, let's look at another one that we might keep an eye on, and this is really one of my favorites. It's near, and I'm also, like, I've also developed with their protocol and some very, very solid, like, tech there. So yeah, I would totally recommend, if you're a blockchain developer or just want to play around with crypto, definitely check out near, apart from trading. But yeah, otherwise, like, yeah, it's had a multi-week consolidation, right? It's finally forming a little bit of a base, but not quite ready yet. But yeah, I mean, like, maybe if there's a flush that we're talking about, like, that maybe the charts saying a story that everywhere, that it just doesn't make me comfortable buying, like, just here, but it's still a solid setup. Like, maybe not on the weekly would I buy it, but maybe on the daily I can buy it, like, maybe on a lower time frame. Like, I had an idea here yesterday, it didn't work out, like, but yeah, it was because, yeah, I mean, it was because of this, like, I've entered on this one, and yeah, it did not work out, like, basically. So yeah, we have on the lower time frame, we have this kind of, like, I'm waiting, okay, either there's some price action, it breaks somehow this trend line, then maybe we are in the biz. But for now, like, what are we are not really entering anything of consequence, which is gonna give us any moolah, like, like, let's see. Yeah, this is just like a long, yeah, downtrend, a slow bleed down, where it just beats about everyone. So again, if I look at this chart, the most bullish scenario is that if any of these lows get protected and are not taken, then it's a solid case for a long. But they're all shaping up a little bit like Injective, which is my second coin, like the other coin that I'm going to look at. Like, yeah, you can really, you can think that, yeah, I want to long here on a high time frame level. If we see this, we're entering the golden pocket again. I mean, on the daily, it's clear that it's in like a very slow bleed, as we saw on the weekly. But like, yeah, what I'm looking for in that case is, break this channel. First, we break out of this channel, and then we are talking about some price action. But as it stands, like, some confluence, this is, yeah, breaking down. Could it hit this low? I mean, you tell me, because I think it can definitely come down here, then goes up here, finally pulls a move here, and I don't think that it is wise to just go into the position, but something to keep an eye out on. Let's take some indicators on here, like as you can see my trend lines, oh my god, they are looking really compressing the price here. Usually very choppy to trade when price is interacting with the trend lines the way it is here. It's pretty similar, I would like to point out, to Injective, which is again also a very strong coin in this cycle, one of the leaders of the cycle. And as we can see, we have tested this low once. We have hit this low. Now the other is the 10, and now this is where I believe maybe if we have one last push down to the downside, really flushing out the high leverage longs, then that would be a fantastic opportunity. So I'm definitely a buyer anywhere around 10, 8, like I'll be DCing from 10 to 8, like 11 to maybe 8, like 10 is would be my average price, because yeah, after that I can decide like how I want to play it. But like from 8 to, let's say, yeah, 10 is ideal. This is my buy zone for sure. But apart from that, yeah, that's Injective. And finally be looking at Aptos again. Huge I've already drawn out a harmonic here. Huge W in the mix, like, and if you were to go with some Fibonacci targets for this pattern, it's the 618 or whatever, like something about 618, like 62. Yeah, that's a solid target for 29. And like right now what is forming is a wave 1, wave 3. This is a choppy wave 4, and maybe we would do at least a little bit more than we've done so far. But also another one to keep an eye out on is Aptos, still holding this till it's above this 50, till it holds the 50. There's nothing to be worried about. I would be a buyer here, and try to get on this trend where it's just steadily going up, and it has already done a 1x, like from here, like basically a 2x. From here we will go, right? So that's what we're hoping it does. Maybe it will be choppy like this one, so you really have to be patient, because this is not a parabolic move. This is like a very slow move, which is about 6 months. So yeah, but it's still sizable returns for your patience. Another one is LivePeer. So LPT is like a decentralized YouTube, and it's formed a good base here. Like this is like the classic support retest test, the retest of the support and resistance SR flip. So yeah, here again you could make a trade idea of this low and see how the wider market behaves. But like, yeah, this is again, should not be losing this area. If we lose this area and then reject from here, it's maybe a short idea going to the downsides. But then there's something else going on in the market, and all these scenarios, they will really play out if there's some narrative that comes out, some news, because everybody's bullish. So there's got to be something that's in the works. And yeah, the next one is SNX again. The only reason is that it's had a huge move down, like huge distribution, and now this is the area that we're watching out for, like and if we go to the lower time frame, that area is right where we are at, and you can see that I just marked that area, and it has had some reaction to that area. Like, and this is live, right? Like, this is not any kind of replay or anything. So it is that level is being respected, and if it does anything here, this is a solid setup. Like, this is, now we'll try to edit it and see, and let's see, like maybe even something like, yeah, okay, this is like quite a wide setup. Usually I don't trade that wide, or at least start my position that wide, but yeah, even up until here is is a huge setup, right? I mean, I'm not advocating that you take this as a 17-hour setup, like, you know, like a 17-hour setup and just go full size position, but just build slowly. Like maybe you go like 1/20th of a position, like 1/10th of your position, and then slowly just, you know, as the price moves, you start building. And if it starts closing below this level, like, you know, then you, yeah, maybe then you can think about, all right, like, you know, maybe we'll enter again at the retest of this low, right? So yeah, and that is probably the 50% of okay, that's the 618 the 618 of yeah, the last move. So they all make up, like, you know, they somehow, they all it all lines up. But yeah, there's also this low, the pivot low is this one. It's lower. Okay, forget it. Like, okay, sorry about that. That is not you know, that's not the pivot low. But yeah, okay, this is the idea that we're going for. And we have a solid move here. Once it loses that level, yeah, then maybe there's not a great idea, right? Let's see, what is this range, right? Ultimately we are also in this range, so it's a 61% range. So if it comes down to the 1.8 area, again, you should be paying attention. Yeah, another one we're looking at is Pyth. So this is obviously a solid coin. You know, it has formed a base, a nice rounding bottom, which usually I love to see. You know, you will find that those are really some of the best setups, like nice rounding bottom. We are in a bit of a breakout territory, but not yet done. Like, I mean, we have done above, like we've gone above this. So as long as we hold this level, like, you know, but we're coming down, you know, so everything is coming down for now. But like, yeah, as long as we hold this level, you know, we could be looking for a long, lose this, and then the last one I'm looking at is MNT. Now, you know, this is Manta. It had a huge run. Like, I even took a bit of a loss here, like, you know, on the run up to this one, especially I think around here somewhere, where I thought, like, yeah, okay, you know, we've hit the high, you know, retrace, and yeah, we will, yeah. But anyway, it just kept going higher, so it was smoked a bit. So final one we're looking at is Manta. So here we can see it's had a huge run just some time back. So this is about, I think, about 6x, 7x, or that 3x. Okay, but yeah, this is the reason why I'm kind of like looking at this coin, is because like these announced a partnership with Google Cloud, which is no joke. Like, you know, there's not a lot of crypto projects that have any Web2 like, you know, backing, or are being actively used in, and like things which are so huge like Google Cloud. I hope I don't need to tell you how huge a market Google Cloud is. But yeah, that is a bullish narrative. And again, this also has the similar problem, unfortunately, that I was speaking about with, like, you know, render, where it's like, yeah, there is that, you know, they're forming similar patterns. So, you know, that's why I'm saying, yeah, depending on which flavor you prefer more, there's reason to hold on to, you know, to keep an eye out on these coins. Let's look at it. There's also a bullish divergence here on the volume, and, you know, like, yeah, I mean, as long as we are holding this low, you know, it's good. And I wouldn't, like, at worst comes to worst, this goes to 45. When I'm talking about these corrections that we were talking about, maybe there's something around the corner, something, the boogeyman, you know, because then, yeah, then this is the perfect area to buy. And it would also be confluent with taking the liquidity of this low. Maybe there's a lot of stops resting below this low, and that would really form a great idea. Or on the flip side, if it does something like this, like, you know, it just pops this wedge, like it just pops above here and then closes, like, let's see, if on the other side we just keep waiting for something that never comes, like, you know, we just, like, yeah, overly bearish, then, you know, it keeps going down, and then it does something like this, and these, yeah, all these trend lines, they do something like this, and then when you have here, now this will be your setup. This is your stop, right? This is your entry and targets. Boo, Valhalla, moon. So yeah, that's basically, okay, that's just, yeah, I was just kidding, but you get the idea. But that is definitely, that would be a solid setup. And yeah, it would offer a clean validation, and yeah, we will see how that plays out. And maybe by then the wider market is ready for a rally, because then by that time BTC would have consolidated, like BTC would have in that sense made a huge move, then is maybe consolidating here somewhere, like around the 80-85 mark, and that's when you get the all season. So yeah, I mean, I think I was a little bit all over the place on that one. Really sorry about that, guys. But I will just say, like, if there's any takeaway, please take a look at these coins, because the AI narrative is still pretty strong. And yeah, you definitely want to keep an eye out on some of these and position, because there's nothing worse than like just watching the market leave without you. So that's it. Enjoy your day. Bye.